This is just a very quick video. What I plan to demonstrate in this really is Sword of the Stars 2 running on a single core rather than dual core. The problem seems to only affect it running a dual core setup. Just to clear something up very quickly, obviously I posted the second video last night. The reply from Shadow, which basically I think he must have watched one of my slightly older videos, because I'm actually running Athlon FX60 CPU, which is a dual core CPU, which a few years ago was probably the best CPU you could get, really. So, you know, but just incidentally, where the oldest CPU I had, the 3200 plus single core, was actually ran the game quite well. The only reason I upgraded to the dual core really was because really was to play Sword of the Stars 2. So because even though the game ran quite well on the single core, which I'm going to demonstrate in a minute, it takes a long time to switch between menus. So, you know, if I click on the research, which I'll demonstrate shortly, you know, it will take a while. So what I've done in this really is I've gone to MS config, and I've basically got the machine to boot up in a single core setup. So now, you know, it's just using one of the cores rather than two. So the reason I've done that is to sort of give you an idea of how Sword of the Stars 2 runs on a single core rather than dual core. So I'm going to keep the detail settings quite high, just to give you an idea. Now, it does take a long time to load up, so you have to bear with me on that one. I'm going to keep the sound disabled, because you can only disable that in the game menu, so you can't disable that on the start menu. So there you go. So yeah, Shadow is trying to sort of point out the fact that my system's under spec to run the game. It is, in a sense, but to be honest, that's not the issue I'm trying to demonstrate. It's the issue with here we go. See, here's the game running on a single core, and the frame rate's quite good, especially on the 3D side of it. But what you'll notice is, if I go to Mars.exe here, is the game is only using 197 megabytes of RAM. Okay, as you saw in my older video, it was jumping up to 800 to almost a gigabyte, especially when it crashed. But as you can see, even on high detail settings, the game is not crashing at all on single core. So there must be obviously an issue really with how the game threads on different multiple cores. Now, maybe it's, you know, it only affects certain brands of processors, I don't know, but it seems to crash and then obviously eats a ton of memory. But as you can see, on a single core, you know, which is well below the minimum spec, it really does demand two cores. But to be fair, I mean, it's not really a processor-intensive game. You know, it's a 4X game, so you know all the AI and everything else only really happens. You know, if I just load up my save game here, see, the game's not crashing at all on a single core. So if I click on OK, does that mean it's loading? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Here we go. See, it just takes a long time to get between things on a single core, but it does actually run once it gets to where it wants to be quite quickly. As you can see, even now, I'm only using 240 megabytes of memory. So the game seems to work fine on a single core, and as you can see, it's quite smooth. The reason I upgraded to the dual core was purely for this reason. If I click on, say, research here, now as you can see, I've clicked on it, it's taking its time, it's thinking about it, I'm trying to get to the second screen. Will it ever get there? No. But even now, just to give you an idea, we're only using 267 megabytes of RAM. So the game is nowhere near eating the amount of RAM that it does when it's running on dual core. So there we go, I'm on the research screen. So now I'm on it, things move about the way they should. There's no real slowdown at all, just when you're switching between menus, which really is annoying. So I've clicked on back and I'm still waiting. There we go. So we're back. So yeah, you know, it does run quite well on a single core. And even though I've switched between different screens, if I go to the design ships thing, sorry about the glare because I've got the windows on, but never mind. So you know, I'll switch to the design screen here when it eventually pops up. Here we go, design screen. Let's go to say weapon chest straight away. That loads up straight away. And you know, the game obviously running better. It runs a lot faster when it's on the dual core setup, but it doesn't last very long before it crashes. So and goes to that dead zombie state I was showing you in the previous videos. So you know, if it only affects on the dual core, you might be thinking, well, what could cause that, I wonder? Could it be the motherboard GART drivers, or because it's an AGP system I'm running on, or is it a graphics driver? Well, I don't think so, because no other game breaks as this one does when it's running. So could it be a memory mapping issue with the fact that, you know, two cores take up a certain address space in the memory and it affects it that way? Maybe, I don't know. But you see, even with all this, we're only using 287 megabytes, and when we was running dual core, it was jumping up to nearly a gigabyte, and what was it in this particular process here, which is not using hardly anything, was up to 50% resources when it crashed. So but yeah, I mean, still it's running absolutely fine. So at least this way I can actually play the game, and this is what I do to play the game. So, but obviously it just takes forever to load different screens up when you're in on a single core, and this is a bugbear of mine, because sometimes you press too many things and it's easy to press main menu and quit out your game, and it's like, oh no, you've got to load your own game back up. So yeah, it's a bit chuggy, but it works. You know. So yeah, so that's this video. So obviously the game, it doesn't like AMD multi-cores, so even now, look, you know, 291 megabytes. It takes a while before it even goes over the 300 megabyte mark. So obviously there's some major memory issue with this game and multi-core setup. So there you go.